Ilya claimed that she had dropped her sword in the swamp and begged Hyrcanus for help retrieving it. He simply replied that it would be better for her to disappear from his sight once it was found. Delighted, the woman thanked him profusely, assuring him she would never forget his help. But deep down, Ilya smirked to herself, convinced she had once again duped another fool. After a trek through the swamp, they located the sword. Ilya again showered Hyrcanus with gratitude. He waved it off, reminding her of his promise to vanish once the task was done. Taking a deep breath, he commanded his subordinates to retrieve the sword, and they did so immediately. Ilya laughed at the display, still convinced that necromancers were nothing without their minions. Seizing the moment while Hyrcanus' attention was elsewhere, she attempted to strike him. But before she could succeed, Hyrcanus turned swiftly, noting, "You're far too slow." Ilya froze, confused, trying to comprehend what had just happened. Hyrcanus then grabbed her by the clothes and swung her high into the air, sending her crashing into the swamp. She emerged from the water, sputtering curses, furious. "You really think you can get away with this?" she demanded. "My fans will find you and tear you apart." Hyrcanus laughed. "Look behind you." Confused, Ilya turned and froze. Several lizards, alerted by his command, advanced on her. She flailed in a futile attempt to defend herself, while Hyrcanus calmly noted that she had never stood a chance. "I saw your intentions from the start," he muttered. Having been deceived too many times himself, he refused to be fooled again. He turned to his skeletons, but his irritation flared when he noticed them mimicking the flirtatious gestures they had observed in Ilya. "Stop copying her," he snapped, "or I'll destroy you entirely." At that moment, a system message appeared. "Player Ilya has been eliminated." Hyrcanus remembered her boasts of bodyguards and concluded they had never existed. Someone like her simply couldn't command them. Meanwhile, a group of her fans, monitoring her canis through a recording device, fumed in frustration. Later, still in the swamp, another player, injured, appeared before him. Hyrcanus, observing the sword in the boy's shoulder, listened as the player explained that he had come to fight the enemy of Lady Ilya. Curious, Hyrcanus asked why the player went to such lengths. The boy smiled ominously, declaring it was out of love for Ilya. Without hesitation, Hyrcanus cut him down, shaking his head at the absurdity. Everything seemed like a cruel joke, a reminder of how often he encountered lunatics like her. Turning away, he considered whether to hunt Ilya down himself, but decided against it to avoid further complications. A system notification informed him of a reward. Another watch, not his, 5,000 gold coins, leather boots, and a promise necklace. He immediately recognized the necklace as potentially super rare, worth up to 800,000 units. "Love is wonderful," he muttered with satisfaction, imagining the luxurious dinner it would afford him. Suddenly, a voice called from the forest. Hyrcanus turned, expecting one of Ilya's fans, but found himself confronted by several warriors. He began to retreat, surprised by their numbers. Counting quickly, he realized so many were obsessed over a single woman. He increased his pace, calling his skeletons for support. One of the players, noticing the summoned warriors, unleashed the power of love skill, cutting down the skeletons effortlessly. Hyrcanus realized these opponents were far above his level and too numerous for direct confrontation. He increased his movement speed and escaped, vowing that once he gained levels, he would find them and exact revenge. After a grueling sprint, he paused to catch his breath. The low-level chase made evading them difficult, but he knew he just needed to survive for now. Glancing around, he realized the swamp had changed. Its blackened waters and twisted trees unlike anything he had seen before. He suspected his guess was correct. He had reached a new, dangerous zone. Meanwhile, the pursuing players scanned the area for Hyrcanus. "He must be ahead," one shouted, noticing a skeleton. Sure enough, the hero's minions danced ahead, oblivious to the humans observing them. The players were stunned. One, enraged, cursed Hyrcanus for daring to insult Lady Ilya and rushed toward the skeletons. But at that instant, a massive creature emerged from the swamp. Without hesitation, it seized the player in its jaws. The friends stared in horror. A level 40 dragon lizard, the boss of the swamp, had appeared. Hyrcanus hid and watched. He hadn't expected the nest to be a dragon lizard's lair. This boss, with immense defense, HP, and attack, required a group of 20 level 40 players to defeat. Rumors suggested the raid had already been completed, but now, due to the egg from the nest quest, the monster had respawned. Hyrcanus realized this must be where Ahimbri's quest led. A wave of irritation hit him. The NPC was clearly a trickster. Yet he also felt relief. With the boss engaged by the other players, he had an opportunity to act. One of Ilya's fans shouted that the dragon lizard was too strong and suggested retreat. Hyrcanus appeared, unfazed. Retreat is not an option, he said. Summoning his skeletons with the skeleton fragment skill, he prepared to take advantage of the distraction. Observing his minions surround the players, one shouted that they only needed to break through. Then the lizard struck, sending him flying. Using the chaos, Hyrcanus sprinted to the nest. Landing in the nest, he scanned for the egg. His excitement turned to confusion. He hadn't found it immediately. After searching frantically, he spotted it. Not an egg, but a stone sealed with a strange purple mark. Suspicious, he prepared to take it anyway. Suddenly, a system notification informed him that his skeleton warrior had been destroyed. The dragon lizard, alerted to the intruder, was returning. Hyrcanus realized that with the boss back, he was in grave danger. But he could not leave without claiming the object. Resolute, he decided to proceed, taking the stone despite its unusual appearance. Ahimbri, meanwhile, observed the task's execution closely, monitoring every move. Returning to the site where the players had faced the boss, Hyrcanus saw their bodies scattered across the swamp, a grim testament to the dragon lizard's power. He approached one of the fallen players, laughing quietly to himself. Taking the player's watch, he muttered, "Warlord really is something. There are so many crazy people around because everyone has too much freedom." The player, still conscious but furious, cursed at him. Hyrcanus pressed his sword lightly against the man's face. The threat silenced him instantly. Leaning close, Hyrcanus spoke deliberately. "Listen carefully. Until now, I've been playing for fun. But now, I have much more at stake in this game. Next time, you won't get off so easily. That warning applies to you, and to her." With that, he turned and sprinted at full speed, using the bodies of Ilya's fans as stepping stones to navigate through the swamp. As he ran, he considered that if these players continued to interfere, a real war could erupt, one he intended to avoid for now. Deciding to make the situation work in his favor, Hyrcanus chose to turn the swamp into a source of profit. He planned to post a message on the game forum, revealing that a dragon had appeared in the swamp and offering to sell the exact location for 100,000 gold. After his brief detour, he returned to Ahimbri. Placing the object he had retrieved, which he believed to be the egg, on the table, he awkwardly announced, "I've brought what was requested." He hoped it was indeed the right item. The thought of searching the entire map for that elusive egg again was unbearable. Ahimbri examined the object carefully. Hyrcan felt a twinge of nervousness, unsure whether he had made the right choice. Moments later, the NPC smiled and nodded. "This is exactly what I was looking for," he said. Relief washed over Hyrcanus. He had finally completed the task correctly. Ahimbri added that Hyrcanus had acted faster than expected. He had assumed it would take someone like him much longer to retrieve the object. Hyrcanus blinked in surprise at the NPC's assessment, then straightened and said, "I did what I could. Does this entitle me to a new task?" Ahimbri leaned back and studied him carefully. "Do you know what this object is?" Hyrcanus shook his head. "The explorers of the mutant region discovered this," Ahimbri explained. "It is called the Stone of Infection." Hyrcanus froze. Recognition and shock ran through him. This was why those players had been hunting him so relentlessly. The Stone of Infection wasn't just a rare item. It was a key artifact tied to the main storyline. He realized that all along, The other players had been trying to ensure that no one else could acquire an item that could affect the progress of the central quest. For a moment, he felt a mix of frustration and relief. He had assumed the quest was some meaningless detour, a trick by the NPC. But in reality, it was connected to the core of the game's main story. Ahimbri gave a small, almost apologetic smile. I know this task was difficult for someone at your level. My thanks for completing it. Hyrcanus exhaled slowly, still processing everything. The main quest had just revealed itself in ways he had never anticipated. And now the real game was about to begin. And that's where our video ends. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to like and leave a comment down below. And of course, if you haven't subscribed yet, hit that subscribe button and the bell icon so you're updated on our next content. Until the next video.